So it hopefully gives you a little bit of a sense of what our organizing looks like. I know you have a bunch of things on your agenda today. We just want to also just sort of update on what happened, and then just again give a couple of lessons that we learned. Starting off, one of the lessons that we learned, really looking at like where we were when we came in to this last legislative session compared to where we were when we started. One important lesson to really keep in mind is that we cannot let politicians determine what's politically possible. That's our job. We have to prove to them that it's their job that we elected them to do represent us, not the corporations, not the big money interests, not the lobbyists that are down there, but us. And so we have to always be determining what's politically possible ourselves. All right, and we were able to see, we weren't able to do it. We knew we wouldn't have the capacity to do it right away, but we were told on every step of those occasions, even by all these kind of insiders, that we wouldn't be able to pass this bill, we wouldn't be able to do that, and we determined what we thought we could do and what we couldn't do. So we ended up passing a bill this past year that has got more attention. So there's a second one. It's now called Act 48, and it is moving forward with this roadmap about getting to universal health care. Dr. Shao's plan basically has us using this new federal exchange money to build the infrastructure for a universal system, to build the computer enrollment and payment system that is needed, and so we're in the process of doing it, and we've inserted all of these human rights principles into the law to be guidelines as we go down this road. So we have many battles to move into. One of the lessons that we wanted to bring up in a sort of an update that's important and gets back to sort of this idea of who determines what's possible. The bill had a lot of momentum, as you saw. And it went through the House Healthcare Committee and all the healthcare committees, and then went through the House, sort of our assembly. And then it went over to the Senate. It went into the Senate Healthcare Committee. It came out. It went into the Finance and the other Senate committees. Then came out to the full Senate. It passed on its first reading in the full Senate, as is. It passed on its second reading. And then on the third reading, the very last reading, an amendment was introduced. An amendment that would explicitly exclude undocumented workers from this universal health care. And so we knew that at some point this might be coming, and we didn't know at this point in this legislative session. We had a very strong Democratic majority in the Senate and the legislature, and we had this Democratic governor. And they told us on a Friday, there was only a few days left, that this is the final version in the Senate, then it goes to conference committee, where it sort of two versions get reconciled by this small committee, and then it gets voted on final, and it's law. And they said, you know what? There's really a 0% chance that this amendment's going to be taken out of the bill. It's really important to getting some of the votes in the Senate, and that you should really think about maybe some of the other things that you'd like to see in the bill. And we know you'd like to improve it in other ways, but we can't do it. So we're sorry. And we said, well, we're sorry because this for us is an issue that's a line in the sand. When we say universal, we mean everyone. We mean every single person in our community. And we might not win this fight, but we're going to make sure that every single senator and legislator and the governor knows that the majority of Vermonters don't want to see this hateful amendment in this bill. That these folks that work in our dairy industry and are in our communities and don't have necessarily legal status because we have a broken federal immigration system, are very much part of our communities, and we want them part of our healthcare system. And so, we said, we have a few different things that we can do in the next few days to try to prove that to you. We had another huge rally, as you saw we were building for. That rally ended up having well over 2,000 people at the State House. We had a farm worker leader speak at the State House, and there were signs everywhere that said universal equals everyone. That Monday, we went to the State House with a huge crowd of people, delivered postcards to the senators saying to take the amendment out. We started getting some of the senators who really shouldn't have had no business voting for this amendment in the first place to come out and say that yes, they would support taking the amendment out that they voted for. We kept pushing and pushing. We ended up at the end of the day getting one of the sponsors of the amendment to agree that it should be taken out. And at the Tuesday night at 11 o'clock at night, we ended up having about 35 people in this room, in the conference committee room. And the House made the motion to take the amendment out finally. And it was taken out of the amendment. The amendment was taken out, and we were able to win this bill without this amendment. We have many more battles to fight, including on making sure that it explicitly doesn't include everyone. But you know, it's just an important lesson about who determines what can happen and how we can really set the agenda. Finally, I wanted to mention, as you saw, you know, we do have huge battles ahead. We have to determine what the financing is going to be and what the benefits are going to be. So that is part of the plan that we now have this Green Mountain Health Board that is figuring those things out. We have as guidelines that it needs to be equitable financing, but we're going to have to fight every step of the way. Industry is now, from all over the country, national forces that don't want to see this happen in Vermont. We're small, but we could be a very bad example. Are going to try to stop us. So there's new front groups that are popping up. Just this past spring, there's one called Green Mountain Patriots. We have another one that is called Vermonters for Healthcare Freedom, which is getting a tremendous amount of money to basically scare people of what's going to happen. So, we have our work cut out for us. We come out of the labor movement, so we realize that, these kind of scare tactics, the best way to confront them is inoculation, is preparing our communities for what they're going to hear, the lies and misinformation that they're going to hear on the airwaves. So we're out getting organized everywhere we can in church basements and senior centers and youth centers, building a community. Everyone's going to be part of this healthcare system, and we got to get everyone ready for what we need to do. One thing, it's a really exciting time to be here in California and at this political moment in this country. I've had the opportunity to stop by some of these Occupy events, and this Occupy movement we're absolutely embracing. This is exactly what our country needs, is to shift, the priorities of who the government serves. Do we have a democracy or not, or is it bought by big corporations? And that's this movement, and we really, as we've seen by embracing immigrant rights, by embracing other issues than just universal health care, we've been able to build a people's movement that is bigger than just universal health care, that is about workers' rights. It's about eliminating poverty. It's about fighting racism. And this is exactly the kind of movement that we need in this country. So we're very excited to be all here with you. It's been exciting to be out here. Me and Donna have been able to have the great fortune of meeting so many awesome people around this state and talking to people as we go in restaurants and other places, and people are excited about the idea of California doing this. So it's exciting to be here with you all today, and I'm very excited to be able to come back and help celebrate some of your victories with you. So thank you very much for having me.
Till he's old enough, we can get him in our organization.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. All right. So many of us are here today because we want to learn more about single-payer health care and how we can build our efforts in California. You understand this from your own perspective. You might be someone without insurance now, or you have insurance, but it doesn't cover the care you need when you need it. Remember, it's called health care. They only want to serve healthy people. Or you might like to buy insurance, but you can't afford it. Or you have Medicare, but it seems to cover less and less of what you need, while you pay more and more and more for premiums, co-pays, deductibles, or you are a healthcare provider and see the impact that our dysfunctional care system has on our patients and our society. So we brought together a panel of folks who represent just some of the organizations who sponsor today's events and who are part of the growing campaign for real healthcare reform. They will each tell you why the constituency they represent believes that we need healthcare for all and why they are committed to organizing with us to win in California. You know? So I'm going to introduce them and then let them speak. Each of them knows how long they have, and they also know that I'll pull them off when they get to that time. And then afterwards we will be able